back to some Luffy gameplay into other leaders. This time it's a Division 2 match that's gonna decide whether ARJ can actually get the second position locked in. If he wins, he's pretty much got it. But he's facing Marco, which is quite an interesting choice from Rosa here. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. We know that he experienced the joys of not being Rene and playing Reiju last week. So I'm hoping that we get a bit more fun with Marco. You know, it's basically Sakazuki without the good Sakazuki cards. So we'll see how it goes there.
I mean, it still has a powerful ability which allows you to see your stuff. Um, it's it's a deck which has its problems, so you do struggle against aggro, for example. But if you manage to set up board and to set up the game, it's quite nasty to play against.
Yeah. Also, for context for the viewers, we do know that Marco won the die roll and decided to go second. And we are now seeing some aggression from Luffy. Um, I guess it makes sense to pressure Marco as it's a 4 life leader, right? And you do want to keep them on lethal range relatively early. But it is also quote unquote a bit risky because you don't want them to have all the resources they need to set up their game plan. So basically, if they get to set up Newgate and that somehow survives the turn, every one of your rallies is insanely stronger. Your leader ability is able to get rid of a 7k kind of cleanly. And if we do have a Monet somewhere in the equation, we are able to remove 9ks with that Newgate. So like that's what Parpolov is going to be trying to avoid. And for those who are not like usuals to the channel, ARJ is running the Don Quixote version of Blue Purple Luffy, so slightly different from what we saw from Asmir. It's a bit more fun to watch, actually. I'm not sure if it's worse or better, but you do get a lot more variety from this.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. I was checking deck lists, and it's quite interesting that Arj is running only 2 Sugar Searcher.
Yeah, he's been slowly cutting them down because they don't do as much work as he would have liked them to early on, and generally you need to run the core of Blue Purple Luffy, or you end up like fizzing leader ability, not getting your snowball going as nicely. And yeah, Sugar is great early on to get you some value and be a pseudo blocker, but kind of comes at a deck building cost.
Yeah, absolutely. I was mostly interested in seeing that Arj is not running Pudding and is running only 1 Red Rock and 1 Gravity Blade. So if we do see a setup from Marco with Sanji and Rayleigh or Sanji and Newgate, with only 1 Red Rock can be annoying.
While I ignore chat because Rene is being himself, I'm also going to redirect a bit to the game because we saw a couple of things happening from both Marco and Arch's side, right? So Rowan set up Monet on top to be able to do the powerful event of play, and Arch countered the 6k with a Thunderbag that got him up on down, and now was able to effectively negate the prior turn by playing Gravity Blade. That's a lot of board state swinging from both players. I feel like I cannot even keep up with everything that's going on. That's really good.
Yeah, that was a good answer from Arch. The, the Gravity Blade was clutch for sure because you pretty much no pressure anymore.
Yeah. But we do have now Mr. Newgate. So now is where things get a bit complicated, right? It's it's imperative that before we get to start playing big bodies, we kind of need to get rid of that Newgate. Otherwise, some of the relevant bodies might go away. I guess if you just go Sanji into Leland, you're good. But, you know, that Newgate is very, very problematic. And as long as you let one turn go where you don't deal with it, or you don't play two bodies to just assume you're losing one and not the other one, Marco can actually take the board presence away from you with some ease. We'll see.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's also
Oh,
quite
I'm sorry.
interesting that we're seeing pretty much the only two decks that they are able to play Secret Sanji.
Hmm.
Because I don't think you can see that you can see that card in any other deck because these are the only two decks that they can set up the play.
Yeah, it's kind of the the mirror of Sanji, but we don't see the Sanji from Arch, and that's not great actually.
Uh,
Mm,
No,
This is
'cause
looking a bit favored for Marco right now because we do get to reduce that Rocinante down to a 4K, which puts it on Newgate range. And now we get to do shenanigans. If we have a Sanji, and like Sanji into Rayleigh will be very stupid right now.
will be
But
bank
even
break.
mhm, Noro Noro, that is rough. But you know, it could still be Sanji into Rayleigh and make this irrelevant. Yep, yep.
What was that? Foreshadowing?
Yeah, I mean the way that card was placed on top, it seemed very very meaningful. So wow, that's insane. Oh, thanks, chat. You're being way too nice to me right now, even though you're being slightly inappropriate as well. I lots of love for you guys. Uh, okay. Well, we now start running the loops, and now you're being very inappropriate, not just slightly. Um, Seven cats in hand for Arch.
We took the 7 on Marco's side. We do see a Fancy the Flamingo, which is gonna bring another Rosie. Which draws 2.
And gets rid of a gear too. Okay, what's the Noro Noro count? Double Noro Noro.
2
Okay,
Noronoros, yeah. And then we 4 Gear 2, 4 Giants, 2 Noronoros, 2 Baguas.
yeah,
And
that's about it for counter events, I think.
yeah,
Now we do have Duffy on board, which means that our giants are usable in spite of the Dome -1, unless we somehow remove the Duffy before we attack, which is very fair. Okay, keep the drawing going.
I mean, pretty much we're managing to see what Marco does. So it's can make super splashy plays, but at the same times we're just with 1 life there, which
Hmm.
never really makes you feel safe.
Yeah, yeah, it's a scary scenario, right? Because if we only clean one of those two bodies right now, it basically means that we could split down with leader and kill Marco.
Yeah,
Like maybe not easily, but it's not an unlikely play, right? Like because we get to go 11 twice or 10, 12 just with the 6K. So
yeah. We do run few blockers on Marco's side because we run in 4 duals, 4 choppers, the Sandy chopper, and 3 Namis.
and there's Noro number 2. That's getting rid of our new gate again. And Usuhachi all the way to 10.
Other counter.
Mm-hmm. And now what? Taking a look at the Marco list. It's actually really similar to the regional winner one. That's interesting, but we are seeing a lot of binding snake, which is, yeah, it's basically Gordon.
Yeah, it's another cost reducer.
Okay, how can we get to this now? Because we don't have a way to remove on zone, so Ace is not gonna bring us any joy. Um, we could play on the defensive and set up a blocker or duval. I guess maybe another Rayleigh would do the trick neatly. We did eat away a lot of hand size from.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so that's gonna be um, spirits. I don't remember the name of this, but basically chaos
What?
a 5k for
It's like
three.
Water Dragon Seal, something like that.
Yeah, Dragon Seal. That's it.
Yeah.
Dragon Seal. Um, yeah, and we double block her up, so that way we get to not die effectively, which is good enough. And Arch finds a giant.
Yep.
I do really love Archer's Dawn. I know he was very quick to pick them and probably paid a bit of a premium for them, but I do genuinely like those a lot. And I wish we had online treasure caps to be able to get them easily. And, to also make some advantage of all the practice this league has been having on webcams. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as Jake is mentioning, the sleeves themselves are very, very cool. Inside team sleeves from London. So, you get a bit of Gonzo in there as well. Okay. Duval dies a terrible death. And now what? Another
Another,
Luffy.
yeah,
Into another
another.
Rossi, getting rid of Red Rock.
Is this the third Rosinante, right?
Yeah, that's the third Rossi.
It's such an annoying card when
Five
you
in
play
hand.
when you play against it.
Mm-hmm. Five in hand, one life.
Heaven asks if you want his done, Gonzo.
No, no, not thank you, Tony. Like I do really like it, but I'd rather have you sell it at a reasonable price to someone that will pay you higher than I will. So you got it. Don't worry. I'll eventually get there. I'm not even sure what the current price is. Actually, I was expecting to see them dip a bit, but we will see. And
So we ramp.
a giant, probably. Yeah.
We pitch a linen, right? That's the linen altar. Yeah.
Yeah, that is it.
And
And
the
that's the
fourth rose.
fourth Rocinante. Okay, so if this one dies, there's no more of them. We promise. Right? I'm hoping so. Otherwise, we might need to stop this game early. Okay, so we're back to 4 in hand and we go for another 10 swing.
Yeah, Jake, the Mochidon is something else.
Yeah. I actually managed to sell all of those, and people do pay premium for them for some reason.
I don't want to commentate on that.
Yep. I do not blame you for it.
Another giant.
Mm-hmm. Another Lilin. And Bagua. Okay. 1k. 6 life. And we have it. Yep. Marco ability. And now this is looking eerily dangerous.
Now it's scary. We do know that ARJ is not playing any rusher.
Mhm. So there's two 9Ks, a 6K, and two 6Ks on board.
That could be problematic, yes.
Yeah, and only one life and one blocker. Uh, you need two to connect. So oh, there we go. There's no blocker anymore. So now you need two out of the four to connect. Six in hand could be four 2Ks and two 1Ks. But also not be.
Yeah, that's a rough spot.
And that's game. UP takes it.
It's insane how Marco was well established, and then UP just in a second managed to pretty much turn the table and flips the game and manages to get it. But it's what we were saying, pretty much. Marco, he can do splashy plays, but as soon as he gets attacked, he tends to be a little flimsy.
Yeah, if you manage to set a board properly, it's it's somewhat manageable. And we were talking about this a couple of times back, right? Like even if you were to just leave alone the Rocinante, if there wasn't anything to block their path, you're basically done for. And that's
Yeah.
what we've seen now with Atusohachi clutching the game and just, yeah, making the math work. I'm a bit curious to know what else was in Rosa's hand. Ooh, we got a special. Is that a cat or a dog? There's a special pet uh, going on there. Always enjoyable. But yeah, it does feel a bit anticlimactic when this happens, but like those 9K swings are to be respected. And yeah, I don't know, maybe if we could have seen a different kind of approach last turn where we are able to wipe one or even two of those bodies, maybe the Rossi and one of the Doffies, it would have been a bit nicer. But yeah, it's always quite scary, and a 6K is easier to maintain alive.
Uh, and the constant stream of roses managed to help Arch to stay in the game because
Mhm.
it did use a lot of the events, and then pretty much these are all dons that Rosie gets you back.
Yeah, yeah. It's basically you get to counter quote unquote for free, right? You don't need
Yeah,
to commit any of your done. You don't need to leave anything standing. It's just happening naturally for you. Okay, we see Arch keeping while Marco mulligans. It's kind of brutal though because I feel like we saw some of the most powerful plays from Marco as well. So I'm trying to think a bit how do we set up the game in a slightly different manner or in a more effective manner. I believe that Rosa wasn't really ready for the Noronoros early on, right? And that caused us some optimizations, at least. Maybe not all of them, but some. Um,
yeah, I feel the same. I feel that there are a couple of plays where we could have played around the Noro, and then in that way we can use the new gate to pop a body when instead it
yeah.
just got rested.
Yeah, or even to swing, like
Mm,
if you just flip the scenario and you set up the Rayleigh, you know that you're gonna use the Rayleigh to pop that. So swing with Newgate first. That demands Noro plus another card. And you're not on the same spot. Or instead it has to be a different card and you get to still swing six with leaders. So either way is one more card out of Archer's hand that could have mean the game, right? Maybe not directly, but maybe that Usohachi that we used would have needed to be counter on that exact last turn. So those micro optimizations might have swung things around, but
that's what I like
um,
about best of threes. Pretty much you can
mhm.
learn and adapt. So I
Yeah,
feel that now it's gonna play around the freaking card.
mhm. Yeah, you do get to redeem yourself from your mistakes. So that's it. Okay. Yeah, we still see 7 swing, that's pretty much for free. Ooh, Nami coming from the deck you wouldn't expect to see Nami on. It's kind of funny. Uh, but it's just such a good card. A 5/6 blocker that gets you to draw 3 and reset to anywhere as long as your leader's multicolor. It's very, very busted. We were talking about this with Rene the other day, and it just feels like Queen was one of the best cards in the game a couple of months ago. Well, maybe more a year than a couple of months, but you know what I mean. In the early times, like you don't -1 to draw one, draw two, trash one, and now we have something that you don't need to do minus. Same stat line, same counter, and you take a look at 3, and then return the other 2 to either top or bottom of the deck, so you can even do some of the Sanji set that we were talking about, right? So yeah, I don't know. That card seems very, very highly tuned. It's really good.
It's insane. It's such a good hand fixing card.
Hmm.
'Cause even if your hand is awful, you can just like pick up the worst two cards that you're not gonna use in the matchup, and you just like slam them to the bottom of your deck, and then you're not gonna see it anymore.
Yeah. Ooh, we get rid of Monet with that God thread. We're not gonna be doing many shenanigans, I guess. And once again, Newgate. Okay, that's before the swing.
We didn't swing.
Okay, that's fair enough. I guess we don't want to expose that Nami to being rested with Noronoro and swung into, maybe.
As we were saying, now we're probably a bit scared about getting hit by the card.
Mm-hmm.
As a red
I guess.
rock.
Yeah, I guess the problem with that is that now we don't have enough pressure, right? I kind of don't hate even swinging with Nami to play around this. Just swing with Nami first and with leader, and then you get to play the new gates uncontested. We'll see.
Yeah, because now this turn set Marco back quite a lot.
Hmm.
I mean, we can also set we still can set up the Sanji play, which is never bad.
Yeah. Oof.
Okay.
That's not as ideal. And now we get to do leader abilities, and we're getting some more pressure off. But yeah,
Yeah, because we just pretty much play the giant vanilla here, which is not the best play.
no. I mean, we might be flooded off of him, and still an 9K body is an 9K body, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
that means we do get some quantity, but now we need to go 6 twice just to kind of keep up with drawing power, and Luffy still on 2 life. And we're gonna start seeing some Don Quixotes, I'm assuming, so it's gonna be a bit harder to navigate. I was also the one of Red Rock.
And the
So
game, yeah, the game before was the one of Gravity Blade as well. So.
mhm. But I guess the game before we did see it after we leader ability, right? So you know, it's more likely. But there we go.
Oh, we
First
didn't,
invented. Oh no,
because it
was
was
before the first leader
yeah,
ability. Oh,
because
oh,
he
it's true.
ran
It was early on. Oh my. Okay.
Clash cards.
Mhm. We're living on top. Wait first, maybe.
We finally see the Sanji.
The fancy one this time. And that's really. Yep.
Yep.
Bye, Rossi. Okay.
And I reckon the Duffy is minus 2k for the turn, right? Because probably we
Mhm.
did minus 3 to Rosie KO and then minus 2 to Duffy.
It might even be the other way around, right? We might have done -2 with leader to Rossi, so then we get to -3 Duffy and -2 Rossi and still KO Rossi.
Oh, yeah, true, true, true. So probably
So it might be a 6k swing now if we've done the math the right way. All right. Let's see. If we see a block on 1k, it's a 6k swing. If we don't, yeah, just a 2k. So yeah, same. It was a 6k swing, but we have 3 cards in hand for Marco, and that's gonna put
oh,
Nami on life.
yeah. I mean, we do manage to keep the 3 big threats, which we are not mad about it, right?
Yeah, and we might not actually. We keep that there. Hmm. We only get to do one event this time because we don't have um the
Rosie,
Rossi to restand it on. So lethal is not really where you'd want to be going here. I don't think we have a meaningful path to it. But we're gonna tax hand quite heavily, I think. If we had a money, we could be gaming a bit harder. But we will see how that goes. We've already put it down on later, so money plus rally is not really an option.
we can also rush with Ace, but
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, we're going 7 at 7. 9 at 7.
And poking is always good against blue purple and green purple because they tend to have a lot of bricks in hand. So just getting rid of, and we gianted out, in fact.
Yeah. Okay, 6 in hand still. 9 at 7 again. Seems unnecessary, actually. Nami number 2. Okay. To respect that.
I mean, probably we're just leftover dons.
Mm-hmm. Kind of might have liked just going 8 twice with Nami number 2 and Rayleigh instead.
Yeah, you
But
could
I
have
guess it's a bit
pressure.
safer with 2 blockers. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think Rowan knows that ARJ is not playing any rusher, so it probably doesn't want to risk it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh,
And I guess Rush plus Usohachi wouldn't really be there, so I think we are safe from lethal in, but this way you might be able to defend your board a bit better, I suppose. Now we see Sanji from the other side. First one for Arch as well, I think. I don't believe we saw one game one.
no, it was Duffy into Rosie.
Mhm. Take the 6 and block. And now Sanji into Rossi. Okay.
Not Duffy,
Mm,
though.
yeah, not as impactful, but still. And we didn't trash an event. I guess we want to keep them.
The one of the most complex things to
Hmm.
do against the Don Quixote build is, since Rosie it pretty much gives so many dons back. You never know if they do have the events or not, because they might be bluffing, like, even if they don't want, because Rosie untaps so many dons. So in your mind, you'd always think that they have Noro Noro.
Hmm. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to map around that. I feel like basically you just need to be going a bit more, like basically just at least demanding Noro Noro plus some more counter when you're swinging. Um, so basically just going to over leader to make sure that even if you get that rested, you don't get it rested that easily. It's okay. A
Just,
10
the
swing
giant.
giant plus card. One more 10.
Tony says, in my experience, the hand is just events, but it might be the PTSD speaking. That is true. When I played against ARJ, it felt like hitting against a wall.
Yeah, I feel you there, but now it's a bit trickier, right? Because Noro Noro demands for a 10 swing, demands another 2k and 1k. And then you will get to rest Rayleigh, but you still have a lot going on with the rest of the board. So this is tempting. I can feel the tension on Rowan's mind mats. Okay, yes, one more 10. It's fair enough. Ooh,
Here, too.
all the way to 9. And
It,
okay.
so there's no Noro Noro, because otherwise you would have already used it.
Yeah, no, I feel like if we had one, we probably would have used it a bit earlier for one of the swings.
Split and go for it, or will you just try to survive next turn?
Uh,
Because do you survive the clapback? That's the question.
I don't think you can reliably survive it. Okay, maybe with that you can. There's gonna be one more blocker.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
think
god.
so. That's the Usoachi PTSD here.
Yeah. Okay, I guess that's fair enough. So Hachi's not gonna steal the game this time round. I mean, maybe.
Like 3 Usoachis, though.
Chad is
Yes.
raising a fair point on whether they should be duvaling before the cycle to guarantee what you're drawing. I guess that is a very fair point, but maybe the duvals were just a plan B in this spot, and you kind of wanted to check going for life before making the decisions. And sometimes maybe you're able to find an ace or a different kind of pressure applier to kind of get rid of this. Okay, so when one
Really triple
Usahachi
Uso?
is not enough, oh
Oh,
my god.
I was joking.
Oh my god. I feel sick.
That's rough. That is
Oh my
insane.
god, I feel
Triple Uso.
sick.
But
What just
Arch
happened?
Arch secures the spot as the second spot with triple Usoachi. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh my god, this might be one of the crazier plays we've seen. Who needs a holy when you have three Usahachis? I mean, even if he went for it, he didn't have it either. But dude, that was brutal. Okay, that's a very, very
The wildest ending possible.
Yeah,
I wasn't
I don't even
expecting
know.
you.
I'm without words by this point. Like, congratulations, Arch. He managed to get to lock in his second position on the league and having exactly the same amount of points as the first one, and also the same amount of game difference, I think, or almost the same one. But
That's
since he lost to Dietmar, he's ending up second this league with one of the craziest plays we've seen so far. Oh my god, I'm gonna have nightmares about this. I hope I never play Arch again. Like, this is gonna be haunting me forever. Wow.
that's a new meme. Let's say ours from now on. If only had triple Usoachis.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's insane, man. Really, really good, but insane.